No, but I've been attacked on stage.
Get out of here.
March 7th, 2008, 13th anniversary this week.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I did it. This was my closer for years.
So, Pat,
Looking at Steve's getup here.
let's. Yeah, well, I got the water, I got the vodka and water, and I have a coffee. It balances out. It's either that or a vodka and Red Bull. That's what I should have went with.
The vodka will put him to sleep. The coffee
Yeah.
will wake him up. He's good.
Depends where you want your energy level. You know, it's
Are you a Red Bull guy or a coffee guy?
never. I took like one sip once, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, but you're a bartender. You never like had what do they call? There's a car bomb now, a drink where it's Red Bull in the.
You're not talking about a Jaeger bomb, are you?
No, they have a drink now. It's a shot, but there's Red Bull. I was in Wildwood this summer. And I did like 4 of them. I forget the name.
No,
of
I
it.
would not do that. I'm not an energy drink guy. No, I tried one sip of Red Bull like years ago, and I was no. I'll just be tired. Like, I'll just
tired.
What about an Irish coffee?
I like Irish coffee. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little. That's
Yeah.
right church, wrong pew. You know,
yeah,
it's
it's
like
coffee. The maybe like less carbonation. I guess I
There
don't
you
know. I don't know. It was but yeah, an Irish coffee I could rare, but I mean I could do them. But I mean car bombs are throw it back.
I never really did Red Bulls myself. I tried the 5 hour one time.
5 hour energy.
Yeah, those I took a cap full. Those
Yeah,
are real.
yeah.
I ended up working a double shift by accident. Those are serious.
You mix
Yeah.
that and with vodka, you're poisoning yourself pretty much. It's like
You could have just took the 5 hour. You didn't have to bring the vodka. I was at work. I don't know where
I'm
you
trying
were.
to find a fair balance here. You know? So Pat, last time I worked, I don't know if you remember this. You were on that show too. I was a year in comedy. We did a gig. It was me, Chuck Bonner, you,
Oh yeah, I
Eleanor
remember that.
Kerrigan. It was in Delco.
God, I want to talk about this so bad.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, I do. No, I do.
But that's how me.
Because I have all good things to say.
Well, that's how I like me and Pat became friends, and I met him that night. And I don't know, as far as a first impression, I don't know how I did as a stand-up.
can't
Oh, I
remember
don't know
how I
you
did
either,
there.
but
But I remember you handled yourself pretty well. Like, there were guys sleeping in the audience. We woke them up.
that show was so fun. Like, I've known Eleanor for a long time and her brother John. They're both very good buddies. And I was born and raised 40 seconds from where that show took place. So it was... And I've been going there my whole childhood to, get food and eat and then order drink and stuff. And, like, it was just so crazy to do a show which was fucking packed.
Jam-packed.
In that tiny
They were
restaurant.
laying on top of
There
each
was a
other.
million people there that night. And that show was so fun. I remember that being so much fun.
So
He
let me-
remembers it. He just don't remember your set.
No.
No, but I don't know how I did either.
Parts.
Yeah.
Are all shows in Delco like that?
No.
I'm curious. That was like my only Delco show.
Really? That was the only one? And I'm just so happy. This is a coincidence that I'm wearing a Delco shirt.
No, I
This
know
is
you rep
purely-
Delco. That's your home. Yeah.
It is, but that's purely coincidence. I just wear this shirt. I have a shirt I'm going to wear on top of this. Anyway, it's over. But no, they're not all like that. But I mean, that show was absolutely packed, shoulder to shoulder. The room is like square shaped, but we were performing in the corner like it was diamond shaped, like it would be home plate. And everybody was just shoulder to shoulder, but they were listening and they were attentive. They were a little rowdy, a little talkative, but they were still on board.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that was like one of those nights where you're like, okay, that was different, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sometimes in those situations, you don't know if it's going to be fun.
No, those rowdy bar shows. I used to think that like the further you get in comedy, those types of gigs will stop. And like I'm working with people sometimes 25 years in, and they're like, "Oh, it's one of these." It's like you got to figure out how to.
No, it's I not that I have all the answers either, but I mean, I don't want to say a gig is still a gig, but I mean, especially in times right now, like,
Oh my God.
like, but I mean, like I said, Eleanor and John are great friends, and they did that that was always December 31st. It was always the day before.
Oh,
it was the day before
It
New
was
Year's
right around
Eve.
the holidays because she's a
The day
comedy
before
store.
New Year's Eve.
She's in L.A. She comes home and sees her family.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy. See, I didn't remember what time of the year it was.
Yeah, that was always her December 30th show.
And you used to work pretty regularly with her and Dom Herrera.
Yeah.
Because you had like I know you told me in the past you had a great relationship with Dom.
Oh yeah, Dom's been incredible to me. Yeah. We usually do Thanksgiving at Helium.
Right,
It's been a couple years, but I mean that was our thing for years. That he would bring me to a couple other clubs here and there throughout the year. So yeah, he was very, very, very good.
Now,
to
when
me.
I started 9 years ago, and Mike had a couple years on me, like 3 or 4 years ahead of me. But like I remember when
It was 2.
Oh, okay. No, because I started 2012. When I would hang at Helium, I remember you were pretty much working already at that point. How long were you around? Like, how long have you been doing it up to that point?
October 2004. So I'm coming up on 17 this year.
God damn.
Wow,
Bro.
17.
And how many clubs were in Philly when you started?
Well, one, the Laugh House. Helium wasn't around yet when I first started. So I did the Laugh House for the first 2 years, and then about almost a year into me doing stand-up, Helium opened, and then we had 2 clubs for a couple years. But there were smaller rooms in the suburbs. There was like Chuckles in the Philly suburbs, and there was a couple comedy cabarets. There was like 6 of them. I think 4 Chuckles. There was Rascals in Cherry Hill. So there were like rooms in the area, but as like Laugh House and Helium were like the real, 250 seaters, comedy clubs.
Yeah.
I miss Laugh House, man.
Yeah.
That's where I had my very first set. I have
You
a lot
ready
of
for
great
this?
memories.
My first year, my first year, I did a competition at the Laugh House.
Yeah, I remember
I
those.
invited everybody I knew. I won.
I don't remember.
Not because of my skill, but for the fact that I knew a lot of people in South Philly.
I don't even remember them having a
cheaters.
competition.
Wait, they did like an open mic comedy competition. I packed with all my friends and family.
I remember I did one of
Do
those
they
too.
really?
I didn't have
See,
any
I don't remember that at all.
friends at the time, so I didn't win. I didn't win.
The winner got to host a weekend at the Laugh House. You know when they closed?
The week before
The day after
you.
I won the.
No shit.
So like all my South Philly Italian friends come out, they run a tab, they spend money, they tip the way they tip. They're like, "Oh, we're coming out Friday." Well, you ain't coming out there.
That should have saved the room
shit.
right there. The way you
That's
guys tipped.
hilarious.
Ain't that crazy?
That's very apropos of how comedy goes in general. I think
insane,
like
right?
That's a very
something
great word.
amazing.
I'm gonna have to Google it. I don't know what that means. That was pretty good.
Something amazing happens, and you think your career went to the next level, and then the next day it's like, nope.
Won't comedy do that for you? Won't comedy do it?
Time and time and time again.
What's the craziest COVID gig you've done thus far? Like a stand-up gig? Like we're talking about doing bars. Like what?
Nothing crazy during COVID, but I did a couple of indoor shows. I featured at the Portland Helium last October. That was a lot of fun. And I headlined Skyline in Appleton, Wisconsin last fall. That was fun. So nothing crazy, but I really feel like people are taking, precautions and stuff, but nothing like crazy where I'm doing like a show when people were wearing masks, like licking the walls and breathing on people. Like nothing's been crazy.
Well, some people have performed in back of trucks, outside shows, like it.
I got bumped from a Zoom show.
You got bumped.
That happened a few weeks ago. Actually, about 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Did you know you were getting bumped, or did you just black out on the screen?
No, I was told.
Did you get text, or they told you live?
This was done via email. So I went to Temple University, and I got an email from somebody at Temple. I'm making myself laugh here. I got an email from somebody at Temple who's like, hey, we're looking for a comic to do 15 minutes on a Zoom. We want Temple and Philly related material. And I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. The first 3 years of my career were Temple jokes and Philly jokes. I was like, oh my God, I could dig through the old notebook. This is like, oh my God, this is heaven, right? So I was never confirmed for the gig. I will say that. I was never confirmed. But this woman and I sent emails back and forth, and she made it seem like it was a done deal. So I didn't hear from her for 2 or 3 weeks, and I sent her an email. I was like, hey, are we still good for this date? And she goes, oh no, we found another comic. And I'm like, who the fuck else has 15 minutes of Temple and Philly stuff? Now, granted, comics have gone to Temple, but it's Bob Saget, it's David Brenner, who's dead, Bill Cosby. But this was such a specific thing that she asked me to do, and I was like, oh my God, I can totally do this. And it's, we went with somebody else. And I'm like, what?
Was it Bob Saget?
I don't think Bob Saget would do it for the money I agreed to, but So that would be my craziest COVID show, the one that didn't happen, where I got bumped from a Zoom.
Wow. Do you have a Zoom comedy approach? Like I don't. I think the whole thing's bizarre. But.
I only did one Zoom comedy show, and it was a lot of fun. I only did one. I not that I held a grudge against it. I just kind of knew it wasn't my thing. And instead of doing Zoom shows, I did a lot of writing. So I kind of worked in other ways.
Good for you. Pat House, professional.
Writing. No, I tried.
Putting in the work.
But I did it one Zoom
Steve
show.
ate during the time of the COVID.
Who didn't?
I put on some pounds.
It's my opening joke tonight, by the way. So we were all in the same boat.
Like, seriously, what kind of people come out of this whole pandemic looking better than ever?
Dude, that's my opening joke.
The people I hate.
Not that I'm ruining anything here, but I will say, I was amazed by the people on my social media who were bettering themselves. People who I'd never even seen work out were posting yoga videos and buying a Peloton, and I started treating my body like a pile of laundry. Just kept adding shit to it. I'm like, I'll take care of it later. Whatever.
No, it's the perfect time to be a mess.
When the government told us to stay home, game on.
Oh, that's great.
And now everybody's trying to slide through the door when it opened back up.
I know, people.
Everybody had to get double wide doors.
Everybody's trying to backtrack. They're
I seen you did bananas. How was that? What's
that was a lot of fun. Yeah. I was there last month. A lot of fun. That's a great room. And we had one show Friday, one show Saturday. Great crowds. Really great crowds.
Are people trying to hug you after shows and take pictures? What's your take on that?
No. I'm not famous enough. People are complimentary and they say they had a great time, but I'm not. I'm in between.
You go 6 feet, you're trying to gain fans, but you're like.
I mean, I handed out I have cards that I hand out. So I did that, and people would ask what's your name? And I'm like, find me on Facebook or whatever, Pat House or Instagram, whatever. I'm in between what's your name? And oh my God, I want to touch you, famous. That's kind of where I am right now.
Oh, that's great.
I want to touch you. Hopefully that's from women.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's good.
We're in a pandemic.
Take what you can get.
Beggars
right?
can't be choosers.
I don't know. I say I've been trying to talk about how lately on stage, I did some writing about how the pandemic's changed me and how I'm in my mid-30s and I'm looking different. But you know what's starting to happen? Because I'm Italian and I'm so, I got those old school Italian vain ways of looking at life, unfortunately drilled in from my head from where I grew up. Now when someone heckles me, it heckles me back to the gym. It heckles me to go shopping. A girl told me I was an underprivileged, out of shape Seth Rogen. I'm like, how can you be more?
Someone yelled that from the crowd?
Yes.
That's
very specific.
Hilarious and very specific.
And it really messed with me. I'm Googling Seth Rogen.
You look like Joe Pesci in 1984. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I can't even comprehend how specific this insult is.
It's like,
wow.
I don't know.
So what'd you do after that? On stage.
I went to H&M and I got new clothes. I got this new jacket.
Oh, you didn't go to the gym?
No, I'm trying to hide everything now.
You didn't work it through. You just hit it.
No. Well, I handled the heckler right.
What'd
but
you do?
Then I thought about the heckle. And I'm like, she's got a point.
It's not heckling. It was facts. Then yeah. It was. She yelled out
she
random facts.
derails the show, and it falls on you with self-reflection.
You never heard that before, right? When you started, was there an open mic scene in your area of the city, or you had to be in Center City, Philly?
Well, I was going to Temple, so I was living on campus when I was 19, and then I started going to the Laugh House every Wednesday, and then after 2 or 3 months, I met more people, and then I found out it was open mic at Finn McCool's at 12th and Sansom on Monday.
So you started in bars?
Well, the Laugh House, essentially, but that was just Wednesdays.
Right, yeah.
So then I found out about Finn McCool's on Mondays in 12th and Sansom, and then I found out about the Comedy Cabaret in the Northeast, so I could do the Laugh House first, and then the Comedy Cabaret, and then the Laugh House had a showcase. It wasn't an open mic, but they put newer comics on Thursday, so I would hang out there. And then I found out about the Comedy Cabaret in Runnymede, New Jersey, and then Rascals in Cherry Hill. So about a year year and a half in, like I was constantly learning about new stuff, and I was going out 5-6 nights a week.
Yeah.
To just not to get on stage necessarily, but to go hang out.
Yeah, that a lot of people lose
I
sight.
dove in pretty hard right away. Like
yeah. That was my like when I tell people I started in Philly and like when I was out in Chicago for a while, the scene in Chicago is much like Philly, where if you're new, it's perfect. You got clubs to hang out at. You have plenty of bar shows. You got plenty of open mics.
Chicago scene's so much bigger though.
It's
wasn't it? I've just always heard that it was just a million comics out there.
No, I mean there was
maybe not New York or L.A. type numbers, but not far from it.
There was South Side that had its own scene, and then it was more inner city Chicago.
Okay.
So I kind of, being from Philly, the fact that our scene is kind of congested together, like the styles and everything, it was very easy for me to dive in and, just go everywhere. I never had, like, much like you, since I started, I never had an off night. Like I always tried to figure out, even if I don't know if you remember, a couple times at Helium, you'd be there and you'd walk by and I'd just be leaning against the wall. Like, what's going on, dude? No one does this anymore.
I mean, I would hang all the time from years. Like, I mean, it took a year to like learn shit and meet people, but from years for me, like years, maybe like 2 or 3 to year like 7, I was out 6 nights a week.
Yeah, same
like.
Here.
I mean,
not this guy. He had kids.
I had kids. I would. The night I had both of them for sure, I would definitely go out and check out some comedy, just to get out of the house. Like that's what happened for me.
How old are your
kids?
kids?
Get away from. I actually have 3 now. It's 10, 16, and 3.
There you go.
That's an odd way to say it.
Yeah, that means it's because I messed up that 3. It's 10, 16, halfway done. 3. I ruined it. That's what happened. I ruined it.
Like you started at the middle, went up, then went down.
Yeah, because my life went down again. Right there.
and he's one of these Philly guys that makes excuses. Like, I know he hates being around somebody that, like, driving behind somebody that don't have PA plates. You deal with a lot of that in Delco. If they can't parallel park, you like want to get them out of the city.
Yeah, parallel parking isn't too much of a thing where I live. But I mean, I actually said in the car the other night, I drove into the city. And I was like, man, I haven't parallel parked in months. And like, I lived in the city for years. I was a champ. I would do it with one eye closed, one hand on the wheel. And then, like, as I'm approaching Center City, I was like, okay, we have to stop and think for a second. This might take a minute. But luckily, I just went to a parking garage and said, fuck it.
Didn't want to embarrass
that parking garage on top of Helium, that ain't cheap.
I know,
that
but
shit adds up, bro.
I paid to not be embarrassed, so
it was worth it.
Ain't that crazy that like sometimes there's shame in
Dude, I've been
parking?
on stage at Helium once, maybe twice. I have been on stage at Helium and heard an accident above me in the parking garage, and the whole room has heard it, and you're like, hope that wasn't any of yours. Yeah.
For our listeners, Helium Comedy Club is under a parking lot.
Yes, it's
a row home under a parking lot. That's why that's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because I might be wrong on this, but I'm not too far off. So the area above the stage is like a direct ramp. So like the cars are actually like above you, or at least they were. So, but regardless, I've been on stage and heard collision, and we're like, all right, I have to say something.
So you broke in at Laugh House, then you made your way to Helium when it opened. You're pretty.
Well, I didn't break in at Laugh House. I just started there, and then
okay.
Helium opened about a year after I started. So I was like kind of navigating the two at the same time.
Sweet.
So I had just had 2, because the Laugh House open mic was Wednesday, and then Helium started on Tuesday. So I had back-to-back open mics, and like I wasn't hosting it either yet. So it was just like I wanted to, but I was still brand new. So I knew where I stood, but I had 2 clubs with open mics on back-to-back nights, and I was just trying to work both clubs. Like, get my foot in the door at both. Yeah.
Now, did they have such a huge database of clubs as they have now? Helium's, they're all over now.
No, Philly was the first one, and it remained that way for 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And Portland came second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but for a while it was just Philly, and now there are a handful now. But I mean, it was just Philly for quite some time.
Wow.
Maybe 2011, the Portland came along.
Was the Philly Helium the first one you headlined? Where you
Yeah. I headlined there in November 2013 when I recorded my first album. I had never done an hour on stage before, and then I agreed to record an album, and I went on, and then I went on stage and did an hour. And it was my first time doing an hour. It's crazy.
I told you gotta put yourself in this situation. You'll make it through.
Yeah, but Pat gave me some advice that he probably don't even remember.
Oh, here we go.
He probably had a Miller Lite in his hand when he told me this.
Shop at H&M.
No. I like this jacket.
I didn't say it.
No. I don't know if you remember this. One night I'm hanging at Helium.
Mm-hmm.
I was very new. And you were like, "Oh, you on tonight?" And I said, "No, I'm just hanging out. I'm really not getting booked that much. I'm just hitting the open mic." You're like, "Good for you, dude. Just stick with it. Keep doing it." And I'm like, I was gonna ask them about hosting, but at the time I was like, "Oh, I only have 10 minutes." You were like, I would stay away from that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, "Really? You only need 10 minutes to host?" And you told me, you were like, "If I were you, I'd host when I have 30 minutes." I remember you saying that.
Okay.
And
I would stand by that to this day.
Something along the lines, the point you were trying to make.
I may have said, did I say 30 or did I say 20?
No, you told me you want to have more time than what you're expected
Absolutely.
to do. Something, I don't want to quote you
Yeah,
to the
I understand.
T, but we had a discussion about, if you feature, you want an hour to be a solid feature.
Yes.
That's solid.
I remember you giving me advice like
My
that.
God. Well, I was, not to pat myself on the back here, but
I don't know if you were drunk.
No. I would say that I was right then. I would say that now. You always want more time than you have, man. Like if you have 10 minutes of stand up and the club wants you to do 10, if the headliner's running late and you have to do 20, well then you're fucked and the club looks bad. Yeah. So like you should really have more in your back pocket.
And also is the reason why if the
you
club
don't embarrass
offers
yourself
you
either.
No, if the club offers you to tape an hour and do an hour and you don't have the hour, fucking do it.
Yeah.
Do it again. Just do it.
Do it. No,
I'm breaking your balls.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm so God, of course. No, I still stand by that. You should definitely like. When I was coming up, I heard like I was hosting. They're like, "All right, you ready to feature?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, wait like 6 or 8 more months." Be like, "Ah, fuck."
You
but
ready
like
to feature?
I
Wait 6 months.
But being on the other side of that now, like I get it. Like the club really wants you to be ready.
Right.
Because it's better for everybody. You don't want to be embarrassed. The club wants to know they can really trust you.
These A rooms.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like people don't think of like when you do these A rooms, like people are coming in from the suburbs. They got a babysitter. They're getting dinner. They paid for parking. Like you can't throw somebody on stage who's going to give you a really weak 8 to 10 minutes when the crowd is spending, when a couple, the whole night involved is spending like $300 a night or whatever.
It's so crazy. You break down that logic. I don't know if I ever told you the story. I'm hosting at the Albany Funny Bone for Chris Porter. He probably don't even remember this. I'm hosting for Chris Porter. We start the show. They say, "Steve, the feature ain't here. This is his name. This is his credits. Go up there and start.
We'll light you when
he gets here."
I feel that in my balls
Wait a second.
now.
This had to be.
I've been there a million
This had
times.
to be like 4 years ago. So I'm up there. Before I know it, I'm like, God, I'm telling jokes from when I just started. Like this is
everything
fucking long. And I'm like,
How much time were
I'm
you
like,
at this point? Are you looking
are
at
you
your
guys
phone?
ready for your next comic? They're ready for their next comic. I said to the guy, I'm like, they're ready. And then someone goes, he's not here yet. Just bring up Chris. So I brought Chris up.
Immediate relief, though, on your part.
Bring Chris up. I didn't notice. I did like 33 minutes. And they had a quality hour, 20-minute show.
How much time did you have though?
I had a half hour. I probably had a half. Not
Was it going well, or were you panicking? Were you visibly panicking?
I probably at the back end of the set. I was
back sweat like crazy.
He was like, I got about 4 more in me now. So I better do something.
But I got to be honest with you.
So what's your name? What do you do?
Eventually,
You guys dating? Anybody celebrating anything?
What are you drinking?
Is it a full moon tomorrow?
No, I was like, but those types of situations, one, they humble you.
Yeah.
And they force you to write.
And that's the shit you need. Like, I mean, I have always said time and time again, like, you learn more from not bad, from a rough set than a good one. If you have a good set, you go home, you're in a good mood, you're like, okay, everything worked tonight, everything hit. That's where I wanted it to be. Job well done. But if you have a rough night or a shitty set, it's back to the drawing board. You got to think about what happened. So
after you cry.
I mean, it sucks. I mean, it fucking sucks when you're
hurts.
bombing, but you learn more from a bad set than a good one.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have the good ones and just learn later. I remember when I first hosted for Andy. I did his
The
competition.
Comedy Cabaret, too.
Comedy
We
Cabaret.
both worked that club.
I had like maybe 5-10 minutes, but I wanted to host, so I just did a bunch of crowd work, and I didn't build a real set until I was actually hosting. Mm-hmm. For some reason he liked my crowd work, and I was like, good, that's all I got. And I built the set off of crowd work.
Yeah, you probably didn't have much time. You're just working out on stage.
Yeah, and just building it up as I hosted.
Were you comfortable at the gate talking to people in the crowd on stage?
Yeah, I like doing that.
I fucking hate it.
You hate it?
I hate crowd work. I don't hate watching it. I hate doing it. Like when a comic can like do it, navigate a room, and hold a conversation, and take it somewhere. I'm impressed. But like when I'm on stage, like I talk, you don't. We all go home. That's exactly how I view it.
You don't like even at this point. Like you hate hecklers. I don't mind them.
Heckling is so rare, though. Like
it doesn't happen as much as back in the day when I used to watch it in the '90s.
Heckling is like
just throw something at somebody. Like heckling was real.
It's not heckling anymore. I mean, there are hecklers out there.
Wait,
but
there's
I feel
a new
like
word? What's the word?
No, I just feel like it's like chatty people who are participating who don't realize they're being annoying.
Yeah.
Like nobody's like, boo, you suck. But people are. You'd be like, hey, I was just in the Bahamas last week, and someone's like, I was too. Be like, great, great.
And that's your way to shut them down.
Thank you. Thank you. I got it from here. Thank you.
You don't got one memorable heckle?
Oh, I have a million.
Because you're making me think like this Seth Rogen one really.
No. I should say I have a million.
Come on.
I had. Oh man.
Come on, give me your most memorable one.
All right, I'll give you a Sebastian one. Oh no, not that hurt. I can tell you a really good one though. I was opening for Sebastian Maniscalco at NJPAC, New Jersey Performing Arts Center in Newark. There's 3,500 people in the crowd.
Marino's doing that.
Okay.
I've seen it on his Facebook. Yeah.
There's 3,500 people in the crowd. I'm on stage. Now, I do 15. Sebastian does an hour plus. And now there's 3,500 people here. And to my left, I'm like a couple minutes in, and some guy yells, Sebastian! And I ignore it. Because I'm hoping if I just ignore him, he'll shut up. He yells it again and like yells it a third time. And I'm like, yep, Sebastian is here. And guess who asked me to be here? Like Sebastian. So now I'm nervous because there's a lot of people in this crowd, and there's like tiers. There's like people above me, levels and levels. But it's fight or flight. He's yelling Sebastian so loud I have to say something, right? So third or fourth time I say something to him, I'm like, yeah, Sebastian asked me to be here. And if you yell Sebastian one more time, you probably won't see him. That's my cue to let security know that like this needs to be taken care of. I don't say
it got real there.
I'm not in a comedy club. I can't be like, oh, can you come over here? Like I'm in a beautiful, beautiful theater. So he yells Sebastian one more time, and I have a moment. It's fight or flight. And I go, dude, do me, Sebastian, and everybody in this room a favor and shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. And I didn't curse opening for Sebastian. He wanted the clean show, but I was having a moment. This place, my arm hair is standing up. This place, this 3,500 people started clapping and screaming. They hated this guy. They hated this guy. And for the next 5 or 6 minutes, I sold my jokes. I had balls bigger than you would not believe. And I was selling my jokes 10 times better than I ever fucking did.
What'd Sebastian say to you when you get off if he didn't want you to curse?
Did he
bring it up?
was pretty appreciative that I like took care of it.
Dope.
He didn't say like I didn't need to curse. I just kept it cleaner. Like maybe every now and then I would say like place one really good fuck somewhere towards the end to like kind of kick him in the teeth and get him going. But like it was fight or flight. I had to say something. And there's a beautiful, gorgeous room, and I was like, shut the fuck up. I had no other choice.
See, I never really struggled with a heckler. because like the inner South Philly comes out of me.
Yeah, we have footage. We had a show.
We talked about it on a previous episode, but but you know what my problem is? I have a hard time with making it funny and not making it
anger takes
uncomfortable.
over.
See how you kind of got.
Well, I didn't make it funny, in my opinion.
I just wanted to shut him down.
I did, so that's why I looped myself, Sebastian, and the crowd into it. I was like, we all hate you. So, like, as opposed to making a joke, I just wanted to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, in my whole almost 17 years, I think maybe like 4 or 5 times ever did I really have shit go down, which is like once every 4 years.
Yeah.
So that's very infrequent. Like, it's not like... But people will always ask, like, do you get heckled? I'll be like, no. People are drunk in the crowd and they're annoying, but people aren't, like, yelling at me at every bit. Like, I feel like TV and movies kind of, way back when, kind of
Didn't you tell me you did a gig recently where there was a fight while you were up there?
This was a neighborhood that probably fights would have came anyway. It was one of those bar shows where,
No, because that's what I worry about. I worry about because comedy clubs, and this is no disrespect toward comedy clubs.
Yeah.
But comedy clubs compared to actual clubs, the security, there's no comparison because they feel it's not needed. But then, do you guys remember that video that went viral not too long ago where the guy went on stage and tried to fight the comedian? Do you remember that? Did you see that clip?
No, but I've been attacked on stage.
Get out of here.
March 7th, 2008, 13th anniversary this week.
Get out of here.
I did it. This was my closer for years.
Tell me this.
Okay. I was doing a show in... I'm not going to do the bit. I'm going to give you the abridged version.
Did you know the guy?
No. Well, I knew the booker. It was a very funny comic and a good buddy of mine. There was a couple up front that were just would not stop talking. So I said to them several times, like, you need to be quiet. And then we have it back and forth. And I think I let out like a shut the fuck up, like a really good one. And then there were 3 more light bottles in front of her. One was full, 2 were empty. And then she picked up all 3 and threw them at me.
Wow.
And I said, you effing C. Like right to her face.
I don't know you to talk like that. I'm shocked.
Oh, I said it beautifully. I was covered in beer. I gave her the C-bomb right to her face hard. And then I'm covered in beer. I take off my glasses and wipe off my face. Her husband jumps on stage and like grabs my shirt collar and goes to throw me into the wall. But we're on the 2nd or 3rd floor of this building. There's a window behind me. So if I could go out the window, if he gets me in the right spot. But my dad ran on stage and bear tackled him to the ground.
Wow, what a G.
March 7th, 2008. I remember this every year.
Thank God you brought your dad.
Yeah.
I love Delco 10 times more than
that show was also in Delco. Yeah.
Wow, I've never been attacked. That fight, I wasn't in the fight. I was watching the fight and
I
was. Jokes about it.
Remember when your phones used to have like the like I had one of the old iPhones, but it would have like a recording adapter that you'd plug into the charger. I was recording this set, but one of the beer bottles hit my phone and cracked it, so I never got the audio.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wait, but you said this is a bit? You do it on stage now?
Oh, no. This was the closer on my first album. I don't really tell the story too often anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's a full, like, 5-minute story if I really, really go into it, but that's, like, the Cliff Notes version.
Wow. That's never happened.
But it is so cathartic to yell shut the fuck up at somebody in a room full of people and have the whole crowd agree. Like, it feels good.
That's gotta feel good, yeah. I've never even performed
when
for
you
that
really, like, when the moment really calls for you, like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's different, but when, like, it needs to be said, you're like, fuck yeah.
Oh, my God. That's great. Have you ever had any confrontations after a show? We asked Mike Marino that one. That was a good one.
Who?
We had Mike Marino on the show so far.
Okay. I know that name. I don't think I know him.
Yeah, Mike Marino. We had Brett Ernst so far. We went backstage with Brett.
I did, but security actually had my back. I had a thing at the Philly Punchline 2 or 3 years ago where I was doing a joke about how I'm 18.2% Jewish, which I had no idea based off 23andMe, and I do a couple things about it. And man, someone really had issues with that. And he ran up to Punchline security and management and said he was going to beat me up after the show and that he's hanging around and all this stuff. And I hid in the back like a gentleman. And then management like escorted them out, but then he ended up emailing like corporate and stuff. So like I didn't get in trouble in any way, shape, or form. Everybody at the Punchline had my back, but this person was like really trying to come after me for just jokes that were true about my life and a couple things that he took really.
What's bad about being 18.3% Jew?
Well, I told.
Now you're gonna tell you the offensive part.
No, there's nothing offensive. I told true stories about. I had a joke about it, and then I told another story about that joke. Like I had a joke about the joke, and that's where he had offense. Like he thought I was being offensive towards Jews, but it's something other people said to me. Like it was a true story.
It was about you.
But he didn't take it as such. He thought I was saying bad shit about Jewish people, but other people. It's a whole convoluted thing. Yeah.
So he's going to beat the
Sorry,
other percentage
I realize
of you
that,
up?
but in hindsight, that makes zero sense. But he had problems with jokes about my joke, which
Yeah.
I'm curious, like,
I'm not going to do the whole bit here.
No,
I probably couldn't even recall it anyways.
I understood what you're saying. At first, I was like, angry Jews.
All right,
I've never heard it.
Okay. I had a joke about this exact thing. I told it at the Borgata in front of 1,000 people on Christmas Eve. A lot of Jews in the crowd that night.
Of course.
So some people said things to me that night about that joke, and I made jokes about that, and that's what he had problems with. But everything people said to me, I reiterated, and he had a problem with that, and I was like, no, this is what people said to me.
You're like, no, the
so
Jews
he probably
said it.
took it as like I'm
you were
saying
these statements.
Yes.
You weren't.
Sorry, it took me 20 minutes to get there.
These fucking
Cancel
culture.
But it ended up making. This was before cancel culture. It was probably 3 years ago. But I did have a funny. I got a story out of all of this. I took a joke that a lot of people did not like one night. Got a joke out of that. Really pissed one person off at the Philly Punchline one night, and then got jokes out of that. So it's just this like stratosphere. We're getting grander with it.
Don't you love when that happens?
That was the first time that it happened.
Another piece of advice that Pat House told me that he probably don't remember. You told me to write from your core five. You build a set from your core five.
Yeah. To Ray, who's one of my favorite people on the planet, told me there are more jokes within your jokes. He told me 2 years in, like, keep writing about the material you already have. There are more jokes within your jokes. Okay, you have 2 minutes about dating. You have 2 minutes about drinking in college. Well, there's more. Keep writing about both of those. Like,
yeah.
There are more jokes.
I tried to give up on my set. I remember venting to you one night at the bar at Helium, and you're like, dude, that's the fucking worst thing to do.
Yeah.
Just keep writing about that shit. Build. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, to this day, I still think about Touré all the time. Telling me there are more jokes within your jokes. Like, don't stop here. Like, keep going.
Yeah, no doubt.
What's funny about this? What happened if this happened? You know, you can ask yourself questions to just keep writing about a specific.
I just want to put my word this heckle thing happened a couple of weeks ago. Somebody told me, no, dude, you're not black. Like that's what happened. That was so he said, no,
that's
dude,
most
you're
of
not
my
black.
heckles.
No, Mike has this joke,
and they're right every time. And they're right.
No, Mike has this joke in his act where he says he gets confused as a Mexican.
Yeah,
that's where the heckle. I think it happened here at the Laughing Fox. And you were like, "Yo, that wasn't necessary." You said to him. You're like, "Calm down." You know?
I thought Laughing Fox was like a production company or like the name of your show, and I'm like, oh, that's on the fucking sign. Oh, that's the name of the place.
We kept it simple, not very creative.
We're not Helium, Pat, but we're trying.
No, but I didn't think laughing would be in the name of just a regular like rolled restaurant bar. I was like,
it was meant to
the
be.
name of the place. Absolutely.
Dumb luck.
Very. I will use the word again. Apropos.
I'm going to Google that word. I'm going to use it now.
I'm going to
that is a sophisticated callback.
So, one other quick question.
Yeah.
So you break in the Helium, And then right around the time that I'm starting, I'm noticing Pat House is doing.
You started what year?
I started 2012.
Okay.
And
That's when I started, too.
you were one of the guys that were kind of already established in the scene. And
I think I was featuring at that point.
You were hosting a lot, but you were middle in there too.
Yeah.
And you were doing a lot of road stuff. And I'm just curious, like, how did that kind of relationship with Helium, where, like, was that something that built in time, or they?
No, a lot of that. Well, okay, so when I started,
you won a home club,
of course, in Philly, it still is to this day.
Yeah.
But networking with the headliners coming through that I'm working with, I would be hosting and being like, hey, I know I'm hosting this week, but I also feature here. If you need somebody, I'm available.
Right.
Or when I'm featuring, the headliner already knows I'm a feature. So I was like, hey, man, like I feature here. Portland was already open in 2012, so I probably did that room once or twice. I was like, hey, I do the Portland Helium. So if you need to feature anywhere, let me know. So a lot of it's networking, man. A lot of it was just
get out of the house, Mike.
Green room
That's what I got
small
you for.
talk.
I called Steve. Who'd you talk to tonight? I'm bad at talking to people. I got to get better.
And that's how I got to do the road with Sebastian and Tom Segura a lot, just from not being a dick in the green room and doing an okay job on stage.
Yeah.
So like networking is a big part of it too.
Do you think the recipe of starting in your home scene and then breaking out to New York or LA, is that something that quote unquote needs to be done in the game of comedy? Because you're a working headliner.
I never really left here. Like I did New York for a year, but I still came down here all the time, and I would visit LA frequently for like a month or 2 months. Like I would go for extended periods of time, still short periods, but like I still like essentially never really left here. I just do the road a lot from here. I have a lot of good connections, and I was able to get a lot of work. But I'm just here, and I like it here.
Well,
I
that's
like
what
it
I'm
here.
saying. Like, we look up to a guy like you who's a headliner and never really left Philly.
Oh.
And you're saying that the reasoning behind that was just being around,
Yeah.
putting in the work, writing.
Putting in the all
and not
the
being
above.
a dick.
And if you think about like I don't know, look at me, I'm not famous, but like it used to be like you got to go New York or LA, New York or LA. It was like beat into me when I first started.
We still hear it.
Yeah.
But like Nate Bargatze is in Nashville, Dan Cummins is in Idaho, Miss Pat is in Indiana. My God, I could probably. I mean, Joey Diaz
Ali
moved.
Sadiq. Am I saying his name right?
Yeah, Ali Sadiq. Yeah.
He's in his hometown. He
Which
never
is?
left. I believe.
Of course, he's in his hometown. But wait,
No.
where he
I
lives.
believe, or Mickey. I think Houston.
okay, yeah.
I think he never left Houston.
Miss Pat's Indy, Dan Cummins is Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Nate Bargatze's Nashville. I love Chad Daniels. Chad Daniels is in Fergus Falls, Minnesota, 2.5 hours above Minnesota. Or Minneapolis, rather. But, like, I don't know. There's no secret, but I mean, you don't have to.
It's different.
A lot of my
ways to
favorite
do it.
comics are in their hometowns where they started, and like I'm not at their level or their level of success or anything, but like I like it here.
Right.
Like I'm not moving to New York or LA. I'll work my grinds and figure shit out from.
That's
here.
the part of it that I always thought would push me personally out, is like moving to one of these big cities, being fucking broke. The other thing, not the comedy.
Ramen every night, being motivated. Like I don't want this
The
lifestyle.
ramen.
No, I'm just saying, like, that part of it never made sense. Like, the more I move up, the more I have to really struggle. I'm getting better at comedy, but I'm putting myself in life where
Well, I guess it depends on the moves you make. You know what I mean? Some people went one way. It doesn't mean that it has to be like that. It depends on the moves that you make. You know, he was able to do it from home, and he said do it from having good material and networking.
Right.
And that got him there. So it depends on how you do and what moves you make. But another great episode.
Oh, we got the light?
We got the light.
All right, that's Ball Breaking with Mike and Steve. Pat House, thank you.
Dude, thank you, man.
You want to put out where they can catch you?
Website or anything?
PatHouseComedy.com will be updated soon as gigs come back post-COVID. But Bohemian Pat City on Twitter and Instagram, and just Pat House on Facebook.
And I am hosting for Pat House at Helium Comedy Club April 1st to the 3rd.
Yeah, with Brad Williams. It's going to be a
Yes.
fun week.
We're going to have a good time.
It's going to be a fun week.
Pat, thank you.
Thank you, man. It was a lot
That's
of
our
fun.
show. Thank you.